Okay, good day everyone. Here I am again, your teacher, Miss JNF Salias. And today, we will talk about the techniques in summarizing an academic text, which is lesson for week 2, sessions 1 to 2. For this lesson, our learning objectives are determine the various techniques and strategies in summarizing a variety of academic text. And then use various techniques and strategies in summarizing a variety of academic texts. But before we proceed to our lesson, I would just like to make a recapitulation of our past lesson. So last time we talked about certain topics, and I have here some statements for you to answer. So I want you to identify the term being described by each statement. Okay? So let me read the statements for you. I want you to write your answers on a sheet of paper. First statement. It is the part of a research report which contains the research question. Second statement. The part of a research report which contains the details on how to conduct the research. Number 3. The part of a research report which contains the background information about the topic. 4. The part of a research report which contains analysis of the data gathered. And lastly, the part of a research report which contains the findings and implications of the study. I will still give you 10 seconds to finalize your answers. Okay? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last time, we talked about the structure of academic texts. And one specific structure that we talk about is the IMRD or the IMRAD structure of a research paper. So let us try to identify which part of a research paper or research report is being defined by each statement. You may check your answer after I mentioned the answer for each number. So for number 1, it contains a research question. Therefore, in the IMRAD, it can be found on the introduction. Number 2, how to conduct the research. Therefore, it's methodology. Number 3, it contains the background about the topic. Therefore, introduction. Number 4, analysis of the data gathered. Therefore, it will be on results and discussion. Number 5, findings and implications of the study. So basing on the IMRAD, it can still be found on the results and discussion. Another topic to be recapitulated is this one. So as you can see here, we have introduction, body, conclusion. These are the three major parts of an academic paper. What particular academic paper? It is an essay. So normally, an essay is constructed in this way. So again, why is it that the shape looks like an hourglass? That in the introduction part, there is a wider space, getting narrow on the body, and then wide again on conclusion. It does not talk about length. Instead, it represents the kind of idea that you will write on that particular part of an essay. For an introduction, it has a wider space simply because it means the idea that you will write in the introduction is general. Because in the introduction, that is where you need to write the thesis statement, which is the central idea of a text. Therefore, the idea in the introduction part is general. What do you notice? The space becomes narrow when you go to the midsection of the hourglass or the body. Why? Because the ideas that you will write on the body are getting specific. Why? Because in the body you will write specific details that will support your thesis statement in the introduction. So again, in other words, ideas are getting narrow on the body. That's why the space becomes narrow as well. And then you will go back to having a space which is wide again on the conclusion part. Why? Because again, the idea in conclusion is just a restatement of your thesis statement in the introduction. Therefore, you're trying to sum up and wrap up the ideas on your paper. That's why the idea becomes general again. That's why the size is like that. Alright. Okay, now we can begin with our lesson by having this introduction. I want you again to get a piece of paper. That paper actually is what you're going to submit to me for modular classes. Huh? Alright, this is what you're going to do. On the left side, I have here 10 statements, and on the right side, you have usually with 3 points, sometimes with 2 points, seldom with 1 point, and never with 0 point. So you are just going to write the corresponding number of your answer for each statement. For instance, in number 1, I established my reading purpose before I summarize. So you just have to be honest. Do you practice that? How often do you practice that? Do you practice that usually, sometimes, seldom, or never? So if your answer in number 1 is I usually do that, so you will write 3. On the other hand, if your answer is no, I never do that, so you will write 0. Okay? So number 2, I make sure that I fully understand the text before I summarize. 3, 2, 1, 0. Number 3, I use my own words in my summary. Number 4, I include only the key ideas when summarizing. Number 5, I highlight keywords and phrases and make annotations when summarizing. Number 6, I refrain from adding comments in summarizing. 7, I vary sentence structure when writing a summary in paragraph. Number 8, I use supporting verbs to my summary. Number 9, I cite sources. And number 10, I eliminate redundant ideas from the summary. Okay, are you now done answering? I will give you 5 seconds more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, I want you to add all your points or all the numbers that you wrote based on each statement. Okay, please total them and write your total score. Alright, now, here is the interpretation of whatever your score is. Actually, those statements will reveal your level of proficiency as a communicator. specifically in summarizing any content or a text that you have read. So if your score is 28 to 30, then you are an advanced communicator. If your score is 25 to 27, then you are a proficient communicator. If your score is 23 to 24, you are approaching proficiency. If your score is 21 to 22, you are still developing your proficiency as a communicator. And lastly, if your score is 20 and below, therefore you are just beginning to be proficient in communication, specifically in summarizing. But don't worry, if ever your score falls under developing and beginning, this lesson is for you. Because today, as I've said, talk about summarizing. So my question, guys, is what is summarizing for you? Okay. Summarizing actually means it is a process which involves putting the main idea or ideas into your own words, including the main points. Summaries are significantly shorter than the original and take a broad overview of the source material. So after you have read something, actually not just something that you have read, something that you have watched or something that you have listened to, summarizing is trying to restate the content of that material using your own words. Remember that, your own words. Because others, what they usually do is that they just copy certain parts or segments of a text and then that's it for them. Copy and then put together. So that is not summarizing. In summarizing, you use your own words. In what? In stating what is the main idea or what are the main ideas of a certain text. And then include main points. When I say main points, the points or the details that support the main idea of the text. And remember this, summaries are significantly shorter than the original. Of course, you cannot say that what you have written is a summary if it has the same length with the original, but you express it in your own words. That may be a paraphrase and not a summary. That is the main difference between paraphrasing and summarizing. In paraphrasing, you will restate the meaning of the text using your own words, but your output will be of the same length. But in summarizing, state the original text in your own words, but your output should be significantly shorter. A rule of thumb is that your summary should just be a quarter length of the original or just one-fourth of the length of the original. I hope that's clear to you guys. Okay, these are just some of the summarizing tips. So I can leave that to you for reading. I'll just read some phrases that I think are the key. Okay, how are you going to do that? So while you are reading the text, you can simply first highlight and underline the thesis. So find out what's the thesis statement. Where do you usually find the thesis statement? In the introduction, usually on the last sentence of the introduction. So, highlight the thesis statement. Okay, then go to the succeeding paragraphs. Look for the topic sentence of each paragraph. Again, what is the topic sentence? The topic sentence contains the main idea of a certain paragraph, which is driven from the thesis statement. Remember the subtopics or the directions that we talked about in a thesis statement? But we have the topic, the claim, and the directions as part of the thesis statement. Or those three directions or more than three directions are the topic sentences. Expect that those are the topic sentences of the succeeding paragraph of the text. Okay, so look for that. And highlight the key supporting details as you read. Okay, this one is a good tip. While you are reading, you can construct an outline or concept map to help you identify the main ideas. Start by writing the main idea, then review the major supporting ideas. You always remember when you write the main idea, that is actually the thesis statement. Look for ideas on the text that support the thesis statement. Then paraphrase information by putting it in your own words. Paraphrase again is what? Restating the information using your own words. Then be brief and succinct so that your summary is accurate but significantly shorter than the original text, covering only the most important ideas in fewer words. So again, a summary is significantly shorter than the original. So you don't have to write as detailed as possible. Just look for the main ideas and main points to support the main ideas. Then those are the things that you need to write. When we say succinct, it means precise or brief. You have to be concise, brief but witty. All right. Next, consider your purpose and audience. How detailed do you need to be? Do you need to define terms? Are you writing for yourself or for others? If you're writing for yourself, do not worry about sentence structure. Yeah. So before you write your summary, you have to identify, why am I summarizing this text? Who will read my summary? If it's just for you, then if it's just for you for your review or for your reading, then trying to comprehend the text better, then I don't think you need to be very careful when it comes to your structure or your grammar, because it is just for yourself. But when other people will read your text, therefore you have to be careful with your language. Present ideas in the same order that the author does. Remember that. Okay? If the author has a point of view, explain what it is in your summary. Leave your opinion out of the summary unless you are required to include it. In other words, when you write a summary, summarize only the idea of the author. You are not asked to write your opinion on the summary. Okay? That's a big no-no. Next, provide a citation if the summary is included in a formal writing assignment or publication. If there are uh, parts of the text that you quoted, then you summarize. There are parts of the, yeah, because it's not yours. You need to cite it, of course. Next. Okay, now we move on to the different strategies or techniques in summarizing. The first strategy is mentioned already, outlining. Okay, so what is an outline? Actually, an outline is a tool that will help you better understand a certain text, because again, it serves as a summary of the text. Because in here, you just have to identify the main idea. And then, what are the succeeding topics about that main idea? We call that subtopic. Subtopic. If there are three subtopics, you can write there subtopic 1, subtopic 2, subtopic 3. And also, if there is another more specific detail about the subtopic 1, therefore you can still add 1. It will be called as the sub-subtopic. Right? Next is the use of graphic organizer. I know that you're already familiar with different graphic organizers. I just want you to remember that each graphic organizer has its specific purpose. Okay? For instance, spider web, flow chart, and other more examples of graphic organizer. Pie chart, bar graph, so whatsoever. Okay? So using summarizing maps, mind maps, and other graphic organizers help students learn the skill of summarizing. Maps or organizers help students represent information visually in a clear, logical manner. It helps them organize the key ideas as well as aiding the recall of information. Alright, we now move to the third strategy. We call it magnet summaries. So magnet summaries help writers expand on key terms or concepts from a reading. This magnet words help students organize information that becomes the basis for student-created summaries by Buell 2001. In other words, while you are reading your text, you will write about what do you think is a text about? Find a key term on that particular text. Then write it at the center of a paper. Then afterwards, look for other important terms on the text that you think is directly related or associated with the key terms that you have just written. Then that makes it a magnet sandwich. There's a key term at the center, and then there are related words, and then after that, write about those words and the key terms. So connect them. Therefore, that is a magnet summary. I have here a sample of a magnet summary. So for this sample, our magnet word is what we call polygon. So what are the words that are related to polygon? Closed, simple, plain figure, rectangle, three or more segments, triangle, hexagon. After identifying those terms that are associated or directly related to magnet word, it's time for you to make it a sentence to connect all those words to come up with your summary. Sample. A polygon is a simple, closed, plain figure that made up of three or more line segments. Some examples are a rectangle, a triangle, and a hexagon. Actually, it's up to you how many sentences will you come up with as long as you'll be able to connect all the words in your magnet summary. Right, now we move to the fourth one. One tried and true method to help writers isolate important information is a strategy journalists have traditionally used to organize their writing, called the journalist's questions or the 5 W's and an H. These simple questions help writers identify important information about a topic. Only after the questions have been answered can writers organize their news stories or their summaries. So this is very simple. You're already familiar with it. It only means the 5 W's and an H question. So as you are reading, you need to identify the answers to those questions. And then after you answer those questions, it's just now the time for you to write your summary. Again, you just have to connect all those answers and form a coherent paragraph so that you will come up with your summary. So we call that the journalist's question, a sample. So this is one way to do it. So you are using a graphic organizer and at the same time the 5 W's and an H question. So at the center, what is the topic about? And then you ask the remaining questions. When did it happen? How did it happen? Why did it happen? Uh, who was the involved? Who was involved in the events and where did it happen? So after answering all those questions, it's now time for you to write the summary. Next, we also have the gist summaries. Gist means generating interaction between schemata and text. So we have an important term there that we need to discuss first. Schemata. What do you think is schemata? Schemata simply means background knowledge. So whatever you know about the topic prior to reading the text, that is a schemata. So how do you do these summaries? Okay, these summaries require writers to pare down information into a 20-word summary. The process helps writer better comprehend content material. So, gist summaries, again, interaction between schemata and the text, and your intention is to write or to reduce the original text into a 20-word summary. So, here is the steps on how to do, on how to get the gist of an original text. So, number one, since again, it's just a connection of your background knowledge to the text. So, here is what you're going to do. So, what do you do usually when your teacher asks you to read a certain text? So usually, you begin with previewing the text by looking at the heading, subheading, pictures, diagrams, etc. Right? Especially if you are going to read a magazine. So what do you do usually? You look for the title and then try to connect or to make sense of the title just using your background knowledge, and then trying to look at the pictures and then trying to connect all those pictures together just using your background knowledge or schemata. That is step one. We call that skimming the text or previewing the text. Number two, then read the selection carefully. So just right after previewing it, when you try to guess what is the text about using your schemata, it's a time for you to begin reading the text carefully. Number three, as you are reading the text, it's the same with the journalistic questions. You highlight the who, what, when, where, why, and how of the text as you are reading. So in here, you may use your highlighter or your pencil to underline those important information on the text. Number four, after highlighting or finding out the answers to those questions, it's now time for you to write. Remember, just a 20-word gist summary using the information you have highlighted. Again, 20-word gist only. All right, what else? Oh, we're done with the strategies. So once again, what are the strategies? We have the outlining, the use of graphic organizer, we have the gist summary, and we have the journalistic question. Now we go to activity number one. So actually, there are instructions on your learner's packet. I think it says there you need to identify whether each statement, guys, is is telling you a good practice of summarizing. So you are asked to write S if the statement describes good summarizing and N if not. So please answer that on your answer sheet. So Sean copied everything from the book. Is that good summarizing? Yes or no? You write S or N. Thomas extracted the key ideas in the text. Kyle concentrated on the important details. Brent looked for keywords and phrases. Casey simplified ideas. Rain revised the main idea. 7. To add more information, Grace added her analysis and comments to the ideas of the author. Is that good summarizing? Mary wrote down the general and specific ideas of the text. Stephen added some of his related research to the information presented in the text. Lastly, Moira extended the message of the text and included some of her interpretations. Are those good practice of summarizing? Write your answers on your answer sheet for modular classes. But for online class, no guys, you have your study notebook on your Google Class. Okay, now these are the remaining activities. I want you to do activity 2 on page 19 and page 20. Also activity number 3. So activity 2 and 3 assessment will be done individually on your answer sheet. And then for the assimilation part, wherein you have here the text, digital divide, the technology gap between the rich and poor. You have the freedom to choose if you want to work alone or work with a partner. But if you decide to work with a partner, I just want you to write your name and the name of your partner on your answer sheet. So both of you still will have copies of your answer. So I don't mind if it's the same because you are partners. I just want you to have to both of you to have the answers on your answer sheet. Same with the online class. For the online class, so choose a partner if ever you want a partner, but if you want to work alone, then it's fine with me. You have to include the name or your name and your partner's name on your study note. So that's it for today. I hope you understood the strategies and techniques in summarizing. Once again, in summarizing, you use your own words, but you do not comment or include your own interpretation. Your aim is to state the main ideas and important points of the text. But you have to reduce the length of the text. You have to make it at least 1/4 of its length. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something. Until our next topic.